Fetterman's actually watching our show because he came on board and did something. I know it's probably pretty unpopular with the rest of the Democrats. He sponsored the Laken Riley Act, which is in response to a brutal murder that happened at the hands of an immigrant, illegal immigrant. And his justification, I saw the video, he basically said just common sense. These people should not be here. They're doing illegal things, or they should be deported, or they should be handled and stuff like this. And this is not you.
Well, how could they be upset with them? I mean, like you said, his reasoning is it makes sense and it's something that should be done.
Right.
How can you argue against it? Even though Talib and who it was Talib and Dingle from Michigan voted against it.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Yeah, see, that's
Debbie Dingle. That's somebody who should go away.
Yeah, that whole family.
That was a joke when she went in there. Oh, I know how to govern because my husband was a Dingle, so that make it so you should vote for me because I'm his wife.
Yeah, see, here I'm going to give you a background piece because we don't
not too much,
but the Dingle family has been in power
for too long
since the FDR administration.
That's why it should move on.
Yes,
because but this woman. She was pushing him around in a wheelchair.
Right.
He was like the test subject for what they call it, patient zero.
Yeah.
For Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He was governing when he couldn't govern.
Yeah, his dad had been in positions.
I know, but what we're talking about is they should be gone.
Yeah, they should be. I don't understand why.
But getting back to John Fetterman, I think he's the person that we need.
Yeah, he definitely needs in that role he's in. Definitely keeping him down the road might recruit him for a bigger office. I think you and I are talking about that. Trump probably should tap him from some kind of position in his administration.
The only problem is if you tap Fetterman and take him in, the thing is that you lose somebody that's got some brains that the Democratic Party is actually.
So are you saying it's a good thing to tap him or a bad?
I'm saying it's a bad thing to tap him.
I'm saying it's a good thing that you should be able to cross the party. That's the way that's the way debate used to be. You would go and you would argue your point, and if you lost, you would figure out why you lost. You can't just the days of saying somebody's bad because they're Democrat.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't tap them because we need some logical person in the Democratic Party in the Senate.
No, that's
you
not
take them out of it.
That's not what me and John meant. We're not saying take them out.
No.
I'm just saying, would you put them in a cabinet position?
No, that's not what we said.
I was saying maybe I misspoke myself, but I think
I thought you meant take them as a cabinet
member. My intention, I think Steve would agree on this, is that to have him in some kind of role
where John Fetterman.
To have him in some kind of role where he actually influences other Democrats by his simple logic. Which is very seriously lacking in that party. They go so far to they basically think we should put ourselves at risk to avoid offending somebody. That's bullshit.
But I think if Donald Trump were smart, he would invite him to Mar-a-Lago.
You would, and you would actually work with them side by side.
That's what we're saying.
I thought you meant take him as a cabinet person.
No, I don't know. No, I meant by tapping him, basically put him in a role like that where he could speak on behalf of the intelligent leaning Democrats.
Why couldn't he become the minority leader so you can actually work with them?
Okay, we're not talking about that. We're just talking about John Fetterman is a good person and to get involved with them, and he should be the go-to man for the Senate. For Trump should just start talking to him.
Right.
And like he goes around the media for everything else, go around these, it's the way it's supposed to be because that's the way it's always been.
Just go directly to Fetterman.
Yeah. Why go to Schumer, who he knows is not going to
do shit?
He's just not going to do shit. Go to Fetterman and, let Fetterman have a press conference after he talks to Donald Trump. Make the leadership of the Democratic Party follow him.
Right. I think Fetterman, I'm just amazed. I can't really say this enough. The person I was making fun of him because I thought he was brain dead. He's very commonsensical. And I don't see how this can be misconstrued by you Democrats out there who are saying, "Oh, you don't understand the bigger picture." No, I do understand.
No, because
what would they think the better?
Well, their argument is that poor little illegals are going to be targeted by police, which they are going to be targeted by the federal DEA and different things, of course. But why shouldn't they? Okay, I understand. We talked about it before. If you were held by the hand and brought in here by the Joe Biden administration, I can see how you would think that you were doing everything correctly.
Right.
And it's not fair to them, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
If you were brought here, it's like winning the friggin' lottery. You're brought to the United States. You're flown to a city. You're given a card, and you're put up in a hotel, and you're given food and clothing.
Yeah, you just
How could you not think that,
And they get
that
free
you did it?
phones.
How could you think you did anything illegally by
you
that?
didn't by that standard. You didn't. I mean,
Nah.
of course, it did violate our standing rules.
No,
They
it
ignored them. But,
didn't because the government did it.
right.
Because when you have Joe Biden sells the sign,
I
says,
know,
"Here's
but
your
that's not
Christmas
what we're
gifts."
talking about.
No, but I mean, that's just how would you not think this is a legal thing to do?
No, and I agree with you. I mean, the perception is like, well, that's copacetic. I mean, we're in. That's
But
what I would
government,
think.
okay, we keep on saying, oh, they came here across illegally. No, they didn't. Government brought them here.
Yeah, I know. I'm not arguing that. So
So how can the U.S. government claim that these guys did this illegally when
We
when the
open
U.S. government is the one that brought them in? You know, it doesn't make sense, does it?
no, it's
It's
No,
like
it's just kind of-
it's like shooting somebody in the head and then charging them with murder.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty. It is pretty. I mean, the thing is, yeah,
that
it's-
analogy
it shows
I don't use
incons.
for a while.
It's
Huh?
just
That's an analogy I don't want to use for a while.
yeah, that's.
But I mean, if you think about it, it's like forcing them to commit a crime and then charging, okay, bringing them in here, letting them do everything, and then charging them with the crime.
Definitely a form of entrapment. I mean, serious entrapment. I'm serious. I mean, that's an entrapment. That's beyond entrapment. It's like basically we got you here. Now we're going to use you as a tool. I
Yeah,
mean,
but they brought them up in caravans, they brought them up in buses, they brought them up in everything.
Right.
And the Biden administration just went over and goes, "Hi, welcome to
Okay,
the
we
free
need to
world."
stop just saying it's the Biden administration. Okay, the Biden administration is it's all encompassing. There's Republican senators, there's Republican representatives in the House. They were all there when it happened. They're all, to me, they're all comparable. Okay, what's the word?
complicit.
Complicit.
Yeah.
They're all they all are. You can't. Oh, he's the one that did it, but we're here and we hold the
Okay,
who
you're
holds
right.
the purse strings?
No, everybody has the purse strings for the last 2
They
years.
let them do it.
Republicans had the purse strings and they haven't done anything.
No.
I just
Oh no, we're not in charge.
yeah, we weren't in
laying
charge.
down-
Wait
Well,
until
wait
we're
till
in charge and we act like we're not in charge, and the Democrats still are. I guess that's what all Republicans do
Well,
whenever they win.
Well, both parties do that too. They say they would oppose something, but they didn't say anything because somebody else is in power. If you really oppose it or speak out, I do that. I speak out against things I don't like, even if I don't have a real say in it.
But
So
one thing over the last couple of days that I can't believe happened is how that. I mean, you can tell them about the state of Michigan, about the solar and Gaylor.
Yeah.
You know more about it than I do.
yeah, it was like 420 acres, and they had towards like you said, there was 1,300, 1,400 acres more slated to become cleared so they can actually put solar panels up, a solar arrays for this company. And there's a hue and cry, and
And it was a Department of
Of
Natural
Natural Resources.
Resources that was behind it, that was going to lease land to a solar company.
Right.
And it came out on the internet in like 2 days' time that company backed out.
right. So I mean, it was because of the outcry of the people. I mean, you do have a voice, and if you speak loud enough and repeatedly enough, these idiots have to get a warning of it because they want to keep their job.
No, they're like the dinosaurs. That's how big government is. You think about, you've heard that before. A dinosaur gets
Right.
gets a wound, or somebody's doing something to the tail. It literally takes minutes for it to get to the brain. Same thing for the government. It takes them a while to learn their lesson before.
Well,
But what they're learning
Because
right
they'll be
now,
on to the next thing. But I see where the DNR of the state of Michigan, one of the representatives said, well, the land was devastated by tornado and trees were down already. So
for 420 acres,
yeah.
No.
So that's the land that they were going to use. But I'm thinking dummy and John's the same thing. What happens when trees fall down and the land is devastated? You replant, right?
right? You clean out and replant.
So why wouldn't that? He's supposed to be the head of the Department of Natural Resources. The first thing in my brain would be, okay, go clear cut it, because they said they clear cut it. Now go replant trees.
Yeah, that would be the smartest thing. To
That's,
do.
I mean, they keep on, okay, they say they want to care about the effects of pollution. Trees are one of the best ways of, redoing CO2. I mean, it's a matter of, it uses it. I mean, it makes it oxygen. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand the Department of Natural Resources not basically understanding basic ecology, basic botany, basic biology. I don't understand that. They're
Because
supposed to be
this is what
so-called experts.
happens
Because when you
when-
get to a certain point, you're political. It's all political.
Political and cronyism, and what's the other word I'm looking for when you put your.
Needs to have some.
But anyways, nepotism.
No, oh yeah.
To where these people are getting into office who shouldn't really be in office to head them up. Used to be you would to have a person for Department of Natural Resources, you probably come up through the ranks of Park
Oh,
and
right.
Recreation and different things, and have some kind of scientific degree in nature
Right. Well,
to be in that position.
during the water crisis here in Flint, we'll tie this into it. There was a guy who was actually running for office. His name was Robert Stewart, who as a chemist to run for the thing of the drain commissioner, the position of drain commissioner, and he wasn't considered seriously. Jeff Wright, the guy who was, said he didn't have any background in it. He went and got some training in it, but this guy was a fully developed chemist, fully certified and all this. He could speak more behalf of that stuff more, more fluently and more on that stuff, that subject matter. But no, they put because Jeff Wright was connected to long-term connections to that department and those people, you got in.
But getting back to the solar thing, that okay, this is just proof that the internet works and why we need TikTok and
Right.
why we
Right.
need X, and they want to shut it down because of, this is the static that
don't want
John Kerry was talking about.
Yeah, it's like, we don't trust you visionaries anymore, guy. We don't, because it's always benefits you. Do you notice that? All this stuff, their visions and their dreams always benefit them, and we don't get any payoff on
Well, in
this.
2019 and 2020, when they were going after Trump, the social media was all against Trump.
Right,
That's what-
but that's
and
what's
everybody was,
cool
oh
that
my
you
God, we
bring-
gotta keep
but
this
but
free.
you bring that up that about Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that he's going to do away with the third party
reviews.
yeah, they're not.
checkers.
Then now they're going to go to like community notes, like
Like
TikTok,
X.
but like X.
Yeah,
does.
so Elon, yeah. I mean,
Isn't it funny now that Zuckerberg now?
Well, no,
he's
that's
trying to
what he
sound
said.
like
He's already met
Musk.
with Trump.
Right, but now after Trump
It's not-
wins, he starts going over toward where Musk
Maybe
is.
okay.
No, I'm not saying
think
anything
about
bad.
it. Okay,
But I
if
think
you
he's
lived
kinda
under a
someone-
regime that was breathing down your neck and saying that they were going to take away your business if you didn't do this or you didn't do that,
you would do
and
what
now
they
that
tell you
that
to do.
regime's gone, that you can be the person that you really
What
are.
what I'm asking in that whole thing was, in that time that
But-
Trump was running,
But
all
that's
this,
I'm answering your question. That's most likely what happened. Is now he can run his
so you're
site like he
thinking the
wants to.
Democratic Party has been running down his throat. for a
I'm
long
saying
time.
the whole mob because I'm tired of people trying to split it Democrat and Republican. The whole mess in Washington
Right.
was breathing down.
They
his
could
neck.
have, even though
Well, they
they're
bring them in all the time for these stupid dumbass
Well-
conferences.
well, see, I was gonna say because I mean, yeah, this by this polarity, like there's like some of these poles apart and stuff. Like there isn't. There's no real
No,
opposition.
they're one mess. Just like they're already trying to slow down everything that Trump does.
Yeah, it's like they're already because both parties fear he is not one of them. He isn't. Even he's got the moniker of Republican or GOP behind him or whatever. They're mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, they've never been connected to him. He hasn't been. They haven't ever been, and they don't want to be. Because he
They've
really
been
wants.
they've been the silent opposition.
I mean, just like they're already making fun of him, and they don't understand about why we should make Greenland a territory of the United States. They're making fun of him, like, oh, he's just a crazy man that wants Greenland to be. I mean, it's because of the Soviets and the Chinese, because of what's happening. The ice caps are melted and where they can get their subs
Right.
in, and also they can have a trade route and
Right.
don't want to have to go down to Panama.
And they've already had, and the United States, I don't know if they still maintain it, but we had
Right,
we have
still
military
do.
bases there, right? So that's not an expansion of NATO, which one of the greatest fears that Putin has already expressed about. It's already been existent, so that's not expansion. You could still have the purpose of expanding NATO without expanding NATO.
Why
You
would
already have
they're
it.
too far away to be in NATO?
No, really? Do you think they are?
No, they're close to us.
Well, but
There's no reason for them to be in NATO.
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's the point I'm saying. It's like it's not fueling the fear or
Right.
suspicion that Putin would have had because we already had a military base since the 40s, 50s in there.
I mean, they would become a territory of the United States.
Right.
Right.
Why would they be in NATO?
Well, that's my point though. See, he wouldn't. They're still doing what the expansion of NATO would have done. Denmark, I think Denmark was going to join with NATO, wasn't already been a member.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
We're talking about Greenland.
Okay,
Well,
Greenland.
Greenland was we were purchasing Greenland. We're
Right.
not coming
At one
over
time, we
military.
were supposed to.
Yeah, and all Trump is doing is saying, "Hey, listen, guys, these are things that have been on the table for years. We've talked about them. Now let's make them happen." He's not a type of. He's like.
But
he's
what
only
I'm
have 4
trying to
years
say
"Let's
is
get
the
damn thing
people
done."
in the know want to paint him as an idiot. And it's not working anymore because he can get his word out directly to the people.
Well, one of the things was funny was yesterday they were in the middle of a conference about different things, and they had a press conference in NBC, ABC, and MSNBC. And the reporters are so stupid. This is what he said. Now, something we talk about. On
What did he
Dave Ryan
say?
show, he said, "If you don't release those hostages before I'm,
There's
before
all hell's
all
gonna
hell's gonna
break
break." And
loose.
so someone goes, "What does that mean by all hell break loose?" And
He
Donald
said
Trump actually
exactly
looked at it
what
and
I
goes,
said.
he said, "Do I really need to explain that to you?"
Yeah,
And it's like how stupid. So the reporters trying to make Trump look stupid look really retarded every single time they open their
No,
mouth.
it can't make him look stupid if everybody's listening to his words and they're going directly to the internet, from the internet to your ears,
Right.
And nobody's going to these media companies that are trying to paint him stupid.
But what's going on is it's actually showing how stupid the reporters are. Because when you do go to social media, you also will see the stupid questions that are being asked to him. Talk about stupid people in the press. How about Sonny Hostin?
Sonny from The View, her
Yeah.
husband was named in a RICO case. Her husband is a doctor,
Yeah.
and he's being charged with insurance fraud.
Yeah.
Well, a large one where a lot of people were caught up in it. It's like I said, it's a RICO case.
yeah, that's got to be big. We're going to try and bring that to bear on him. I mean, yeah, because we've had a lot of charges of abuse in these insurance companies and stuff like that. And I've never heard him bring in RICO statutes against them. So that's got to be pretty significant. I mean, I never heard of it anyway. I mean, obviously, I can be corrected.
But the thing is, she's always pointing fingers at people.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then now it's her turn to have the fingers pointed back at her.
And she's
Because she was saying how Diddy, you can't beat a RICO case. You might as well just fess up with it. And just, is she giving her husband the same advice that she was giving Diddy?
She'll probably just divorce him and distance herself. That's probably the first act.
I wonder if she even knew what's going on with that, because she could have known.
She could have known. I mean, there's no way. I mean, we can't speculate. We can only
Here's the
speculate.
funny thing
I'm
is,
just saying,
when Trump
what
got-
else we're trying to say is it couldn't happen to a better person.
Oh yeah, I agree that 100%. Because here's what happens when Trump was in the Atlanta, Georgia, on that RICO case, where she was all hot about
Right,
that.
and that's what we just said. We hope that she gives the same advice to the people that she was saying that were involved in the RICO. But what about Los Angeles burning down, and being so proud of their gay DEI higher LGBTQ fire chief?
It's like that's all that's good, but can they put out a fire? I mean, is there proof in the pudding now? I mean, is the eating, right? If they can't deliver the goods, then it doesn't matter how many.
John, they don't even have water at their fire hydrants.
I know.
They don't have any water in their reservoir. There's no water to draw from to put out the fires.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They celebrate. We have so much diversity, so much inclusion. But yeah, we don't have any fire trucks, any water, and nobody don't know trained how to do it. But look we got such a wide group of people we can represent everybody.
Hey,
yeah,
we believe in DEI.
Right.
Don't get back.
Well, they're proud of that. They were proud of their I keep on saying police chief, but their fire chief being a gay woman, first gay woman to be the fire chief of LA.
It's basically like, yeah, we got all the things crossed, but yeah, okay, yeah, it's simple thing. They can't do the job they're hired for, but gee, don't they all look good together? I mean, look, doesn't this a photo op? I mean, that's what it is. It's not effectiveness.
How many times does it happen in California? I mean, how many times have we had fires in California and he still don't know how to get rid of them? That's the whole thing. I mean, they put these guys in charge.
But you remember Trump pointing it out. He's saying the reason you have fires in California is because you don't take care of the undergrowth.
He said referred to as raking it.
Yeah. He called it raking, and then, like you said, they made fun of him because of the terminology he uses. But when I was at Fort Bragg and in Kentucky at Fort Campbell, they would go out and purposely burn the undergrowth of the forest to make sure that, well, what it did is it made sprouted new growth,
right?
And then if there was a fire, it had nothing to fuel. No, there's no fuel.
Right. Native Americans practice burning like that. I mean, to get, but I know the first thing here in Michigan, when you have a forest fire, the first thing that pops up for that because of soil conditions is the wild blueberries, or something they call them elderberries, whatever those pop up first. I mean, one of the first things, they taste much better than the store-bought variety.
Right.
But that's the first thing. And then after that, you have the secondary growth come up, and that's how you reseed and
you get nitrogen and just everything that from the trees falling down in new growth.
In Michigan,
Right.
we also have to have fires periodically to give nesting grounds for the Kirtland warbler, which is a very rare bird, only found in Michigan, the nesting grounds. And up there by Mile, Michigan, which typically, and there's only so many thousand acres they nest in. And what was it, the jack pines or whatever, they're not commercially viable.
Have
They're
you
real
ever seen a
fun.
warbler before?
Yeah, I've seen them. Real pretty
They're
little
really,
birds.
really pretty.
Real pretty bird. And matter of fact, I think that should be the state bird instead of the robin, because the robin's not exactly loyal to Michigan. I think 6 or 7 different states has that as their state bird. So I think that'd be more unique if we adopted the Cortland warbler, but that's my opinion. But anyway,
John, near dear to your heart, Apple reported that they're firing 185 Indian employee or foreign workers for mass scam related fraud with Apple matching grant. What they were doing is taking and selling cards, Apple cards
mhm.
that weren't the yeah they had they but you got caught up in a scam
You have to-
from
It was actually from Wells Fargo. People
Wells
call me up
Fargo.
from this Wells Fargo, and they're saying they're calling about something from a Zelle account. And I kept on saying, well, I don't have a Zelle account, and I don't have a Wells Fargo. Keep in mind, Wells Fargo has actually had been found out actually years before this. They actually opened up accounts in people's names that there were no consent or prior knowledge of it. Anyway, so Wells Fargo, do not do business with Wells Fargo. But anyway, so I got the information.
not online. If
Yeah,
you're going to do
this-
it, do it in person.
And so sure enough, the number they were calling was from Wells Fargo, because I called and I looked at the number I had and I went online. It's the same damn number. So I called the number and I actually got somebody at Wells Fargo, and I talked to somebody and told him about this fraud, and he was just pretty much indifferent to it.
And admitted that they're aware of it.
They're aware of it. Okay, they
Well, they're
didn't
not
do
doing
enough.
anything about it.
And they say there was phishing or spoofing or what? Spoofing. That's what it was. And went, then you're okay. Well, how come we didn't put out a warning? Well, we tried to handle it in the press, and he's a foreign accent. I'm not trying to just insult anybody, but it was a foreign accent. And I went, you're not doing enough.
But isn't this proof that some of the transactions we do shouldn't be able to be done
Right.
by overseas?
And it's enough, and the corporations are allowing this. You know what? My thinking is some of these bank officials might be on board for it. They don't care because they got separate
black
accounts.
money, a lot of black money,
Yeah.
meaning
Dark
illegal
money.
money
Yeah.
out there. It's a big business.
You
And
do
that's what we talked about before when people are saying, "Oh, we need to change the U.S. currency." You can't, because there's so much out there.
it's not printed currency. It's the transactions are committed to performed without having actual money in hand. Actual paper money.
Yeah.
Or whatever whatever the material is made of currently. That it's all digitally done, and we don't. Let's face it. When you have a bank account, okay, you might not notice $1 or $2 off your account, and that doesn't seem a lot. But when you have thousands of accounts, that could be welcome to millions, and when you come up to millions.
But I
of
mean, you can
dollars.
see there. I forget what the name of the guy was that was just making. He was taking a half of a penny
Yeah,
off of each transaction, and he was making he made millions of dollars doing that before he got caught.
we have so much ease, and I love the fluidity and the flexibility of having stuff online. I admit I use it, but I mean it is very dangerous because you could be a suspect. You look at your account and there's nothing in it. Your bank's totally screaming at you because you're doing transactions with no money in the account, and you got to pay all these, and you can't prove where that money went to. That you didn't
Right.
spend it because it's been going to different merchants and stuff. How do you know? How they know that you didn't actually get the benefit of it? So.
But how do you feel about that? A Christian teacher was awarded six figures for termination over transient. She wouldn't use the pronouns of a transient. She would refer.
Transgender student.
Yeah.
So a sane person got
So-
money for stating the obvious. That's what I look at.
Right.
She's stating the obvious, and you can't say that.
But
Here's
no,
the
but
script.
she said, because I'm a Christian,
I
I
can't
can't
do that.
do that,
Right.
and it would go against my values. And so so the school fired her, and she sued, and now she won.
It's like people have to demand that people go against their conscience all the time for employment. I don't think that's good. I don't think
That's
that's good I think that's wrong. I mean, and I know people. And another thing is, though, if you do, but there's a person who is
But
actually,
how do you refer to somebody who says that I prefer to be called we, they?
yeah, it's like,
How you refer to them?
Yeah.
Call them by their name.
I mean, it's like, I'll just say
It's
you. I mean,
but it's impossible to use those.
okay, so you and I were sitting around talking. We say you and I, or you and them, or whatever. Oh, yet you've made the point several times. You don't use the personal pronouns unless the person's usually not present. You mean,
Right.
so how could they, oh, somebody use that name and that pronoun, you don't like it, they used it when you're absent.
But the
It's
only
just
one, like
ridiculous.
you used it,
You're right.
you,
Right.
but you is universal. It doesn't mean male or female.
Shh, they might come up with a special term now that they want to find it's more
But no, I
inclusive. I don't
mean
know.
that one, it's it's not masculine or feminine.
Right.
You, how can you say, oh no, it's they?
You know,
You
Because
refer to me as they,
they.
not you.
it's
You
like
have
we
to
are.
say they. This is my name. They.
It
You
sounds
know?
like part of the collective, like Borg, the Borg.
We are they.
We are they. We are them. I don't know. I just
Or-
take basic English and try to confound it just because you want to have shits and giggles. I guess
But
that's
they
what it
don't
is.
care. The nuts. Well, I call them nuts because you have to be a little bit crazy to expect the world to join your circus.
Yeah, it's like it's
I
like
mean, unless it's a really good circus, but these circuses are nothing I want to join.
I don't.
I
Yeah,
watched the last 4 years of the circus. I don't really want to see anymore.
it's like some now we're probably all have all of a
But I'm
sudden.
saying, okay, so a stupid school who was up, what value, whatever values they thought they were upholding, just lost millions of dollars.
Well, they didn't lose it. The citizens who paid for the school, or the people who paid for the school, did. See, that's the thing is, these administrators, they should, for ridiculous stuff like this, it should be on the backs of, say, cops who violate the rights of individuals, and then on the people like this, it should be on the people who are in the position making these decisions.
No, because okay,
terminate
there's
them.
I seen a video of this guy who bought a property, and when he went to pay taxes, the taxes went up like $1,000. And come to find out, it was because somebody sued the school, and that school didn't have the insurance. So somebody came up with the great idea to raise everybody's taxes for 3 years 100% to cover that lawsuit.
So, and they didn't have any probably information out there
They,
available
no,
to
they
the
didn't
public.
give it
Yeah.
out. A lot of people found out when they went to pay their tax bill.
Well, yeah, that happened here
No.
when that built that when they tore down, they imploded the building downtown, and they took it away from the rightful owner, and there was an ensuing lawsuit, and the city lost. They tacked that onto our taxes, and because the city attorney at the time, he said that he told back then it was Williamson that it was
Well,
okay to do.
But I
mean,
was just bringing that up
yeah.
to you because you were saying how they're going to pay for it. But they still pay for
We
it.
still pay
even
for it,
when
yeah.
they don't have the
Right.
money with your money.
Right. Well,
Right.
it goes far. Years ago, there was a guy who was incarcerated improperly down as like East St. Louis, Missouri, or something like that. Anyway, he got incarcerated and he got beat up while he was in prison, jail, and he shouldn't have been in the general population anyway. He shouldn't have been put in there. So he sued and sued, and they didn't have anything to actually resolve the conflict with the financial settlement. So he ended up temporarily owning the city hall of that town. I mean, this is like 20 some years ago, but I mean, this is ridiculous. People are making stupid decisions upon they identify themselves. They protect themselves from the outcome of this stuff by saying that this is my public office. Well, at a certain point, that's got to be there should be like a
You should be
criteria.
held accountable. I mean, I understand being that you have to make decisions that
Aren't
that
popular.
people, but if something like that is not in your job scope,
Right,
you shouldn't be protected.
right.
No.
Now, if you're making decisions that are in the purview of your typical duties, then no, yeah, you got to be held accountable for it. You'd say, here's what I'm
Or
protected
at
under
least
this
be
right.
fired
Right.
and your pay be donated.
Right. So I mean, those are suggestions. People see if you can work with them.
But bringing up what you were talking about earlier, and I think it's funny, and you probably would think it's funny. CBS, ABC, and NBC blame Trump for Trudeau's resignation. They blame him.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think if I was him, I'd say I'd take credit for it.
They'll
I'm not
take, they'll
blaming.
take the credit for
They're
it
not giving him credit.
No.
They're blaming him.
Well,
because they're like, you got rid of our best friend,
Yeah.
Justin.
he
It's
picked
so-
on him so
But
bad.
I don't
But it
understand.
just goes to the point that you're saying how stupid they are.
They are okay. When I watch these reporters, I just put my head down and think they didn't go to school. None of these guys had to go to school. If you went to school, I don't know where they went to school at.
But
Modeling school, because seriously, they didn't go to any
no,
journalism.
but no,
class.
because you have to be stupid. Why would you go ask the king of gotcha
Mhm.
a gotcha
stupid,
question?
Yeah, a gotcha question. Wondering
Because
if they
he's
took
not
it back.
gonna answer it. He's just gonna make you look stupid. Like it's absolutely that reporter that kept on answering that question or asking him questions that we don't need to know because it should be secretive.
Well, they're asking his strategy, and he's
Yeah.
like, what, "So I'm gonna lay out in front of you guys my strategy and how I'm going to rain hell on somebody.
Yeah, it's
Just
like
know this: I'm going to rain hell if they're not going to, if they're not, sent home."
And I'm sure people, okay, from Donald Trump's background as a businessman, he's not just coming up with these ideas out of thin air. He's already conferred with people who are in the know.
He's been working on everything
Since
like
October
Panama,
last year, I think he's been working on it.
Panama. He's been working on this forever.
Yeah. Well, I think some people just have something that have always been aware of, and they just, when they get in
Well,
position,
I mean,
or they use their
when
power.
you were a
Why was Don
kid-
Jr. over in Green? I'm just curious.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But we're talking about Panama,
Right.
But what he said, he knew. Remember, we talked about it. I brought up. It was in our show notes that over 30,000, it was 38,000 people died of malaria and other
Right.
diseases while they were down there. He knew all that stuff. There was admittedly a news commentator who's around our age that admitted that he didn't know about everything that Trump was talking about the deaths. And what he said is just what we said on the show, is that when you sign an agreement, you agree that you're going to do these terms. And he said that Panama violated the terms
They did.
of the agreement. And
So-
did you know that our ships cargo, anything U.S. pays an exorbitant fee more than everybody else to use that canal?
Yeah.
And do you know that we still pay for maintenance?
For that, yeah.
See, that's the thing. Trump brings up the the double billing that we get. I mean, we brought it up to Canada, how much billions of dollars we give them. We subsidize the existence of a country to the north. I mean, and we do that. Everybody wants to point out to Europe, like Europeans can do this with their money. Why can't we do that to America? Because they don't pay for their own defense. U.S. military has defended Europe since the end of the Second World War. And during the Second World War, it was our military industrial complex, our industries that put out enough armament to defeat the so-called enemy. Okay. So, I mean, we paid for that. The only country that ever paid its war debt back to the United States was a tiny country, Finland. England had never done it. And France laughed it off when it was even brought up.
Yeah.
And Soviet Union, they were even laughing hysterically when we brought up the fact.
But could you
we paid back.
imagine what
Biden even said, "Just give me one shot to get this guy pissed off, so I can start a war with Russia right now."
But could you imagine the vacuum in the European states or the Union that would happen if the United States stopped giving them money?
Well, I mean, yeah, I
They
mean,
would fail.
well, like, okay,
They pay more than McDonald's. And
Well, I mean, certain countries probably won't fail, but like Germany and England might.
the
not,
guys that are
but other countries
top
would.
heavy would fail real fast.
yeah, because
Right.
Germany, how many military bases we still have in Germany?
I don't know, John.
But I know it's a huge portion of those local populations' income that comes off those bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that's significant right there. And I don't want to do that to Germany, but at some point we got to look at back to we got to
Well,
retract
that's
where
what
we
he's
are at.
saying. That's what he brought up with Canada. We subsidize Canada with billions of dollars. I mean, he was talking about Canada, and at the whole time he's saying why Canada, that we don't need their goods. I mean,
Yeah.
their service, their goods, their lumber. We don't need their dairy, but we subsidize them with security and all this stuff. I'm thinking, man, you could just take Canada out of there and put Israel
Yeah,
in
Right
that
there.
same spot, but he won't argue Israel like that.
no, that's because I mean that's one thing I'd have an issue with Trump. He's got this American
Blindness to
blinders to Israel. I mean, they don't see that they're basically a drain on us, and our way of life and our way of existence have been diminished since its creation. I don't see where they've added greatly to the mix. I don't, for us on our benefit. I mean, it's like we've got to play the noble person, noble group, and we get no
No, and
knowledge out of it.
that was a noble when Carter signed the treaty, because they played it last night. It was like a normal. He was doing something noble,
Right.
by giving back control, and that we're no longer the overseers of the canal, and they can control their land. We should have made that American territory, however
moment.
wide that is,
Right.
that canal all the way through.
Well, yeah, but look at the area. Well, let's face it. When the Emmanuel Noriega, the guy who'd been a general there in the Panamanian government, he overthrew the government, or somehow he got power. I mean, basically, there's a lot of violence connected to the drug trade that developed around it. That wouldn't have happened if the U.S. presence was still there. I mean, and I don't know. We do all these things. We think we're going to get credit for it. And yes, sometimes we do it for, like, the Panama Canal definitely was connected to trade, I guess, greed. But it also had everything was.
But what he brought up in that report is because again, he's around our age, not boomers.
All right.
That he remembered being a good thing and all the businessmen coming out for it. Because they all got a piece of the pie.
Right.
You know that they already we're gonna privatize this. They already had their
They're at their
people
hands
down
out.
there
Right.
and their hand out. They're saying good, patting them on the back with one hand and putting another hand out for money from the United States.
See, that's the thing is, I'm a capitalist, but the thing is, these people who are enjoying those kind of benefits, the government, the people, the taxpayers, actually developed all this, and now they want to benefit off that and not pay the
But
people
we
back.
never get the benefits.
No, we never derive the
Never,
benefit
we
from
never
it.
get the benefits from anything. It always goes to the rich
their
people.
Right, and that's
Or
what. And they're always saying, like, well, look what we did for you. We created these jobs. Yeah, you took our money, you got the ability to build these plants and whatever off of our taxed on our tits, and then you turn around saying, look what I did. Okay, when you hit the skid, you come to ask with the money and a little collection plate in the hand, saying, "Give us money so we can bail us out, GM and all this." But when you're making booming profits, you're not going to kick any back that to us, do you? No, you don't set up the shops and the factories in the towns you decimated when you first moved out. So I mean, I can see where people have severe criticism, but see, you got to have enough money to buy politicians. People like you, the small business owner, you don't have the money to buy politicians. See, and that's the bulk of our country's business is small business owners. They don't have the ear of the
Dave
government.
says 35% of all everything in the world in our economy runs off small businesses.
Right.
They have dinged the small businesses so much. You get it from the big corporations, you get it from the politicians, you get it from the lawmakers,
and
you get it from our government.
yeah.
Every stinking way you turn. We were talking about this. I was talking about this morning in a meeting before I came here. At our office, we were going through different things, and this goes along with what you're talking about. We don't have a freedom to do what we
No,
want to do.
because okay, our church. How long ago was the building where our church is paid off?
Well,
50, 60 years ago,
Yeah, easily 50 years ago.
and still paying
Taxes on it.
taxes on it. I mean, there
You
should
probably
be a
paid
certain,
you
there
probably
should
paid
be
the
a
church
certain
off twice.
point where you shouldn't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, because see, if you're a corporation, you would have you build a plant, you get tax breaks for building the plant currently in any way, and then you also get the fact that it's depreciating. You get to write that off each year, and of course they want you to take that money and save it and stuff like that, so you can down the road maybe recreate that place again, renew it, whatever. But see, the average homeowner doesn't get that. You mean they just we exist so the bureaucrats, the local officials, and the state officials can have a damn job. That's what we are. They are parasites.
And then what happens when you die and you want to leave what you have, your dirt mound to somebody?
Right.
They got to take some of your dirt and give it to the state.
Right. And the thing is, I mean, yeah, the small business. I mean, farmers are small business, agribusinesses, right? Of course, some of the ones their holdings and what they own actually would probably get them close to being, the capitalization would require probably a mid capitalization because they've done this for years. So, but they die, they leave it to their family. And the government just, whoa, we got you. We can suck you dry. That's what it is.
Okay, but look, and when you stand up, look what they were doing to Amos Miller, the farmer who for raw milk, kept on coming in there killing his chickens and pouring out his milk. But by the way, he won like a couple times over. So
I'm so sick and tired of people, and I'm tired of being told by you wags out there. You got to respect whose power. Well, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
Why should government be able to tell you? Okay, they can tell you, oh, it's okay to take these nasty drugs and these nasty. That's okay, but if you're going to drink raw milk, we're going to come down on you.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Oh wait, going with that one. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Go.
But here's the new thing: when we played Sunshine, we first came in underneath this Republican Congress and Senate in the House in the state.
We'll just say what it is.
It was now that you can't buy anything caged chicken
in the state. It's in the state of Michigan. That's why
now
people are wondering why eggs are so high right now. It's because they don't have the eggs that are free range or produced yet to be. And all it means is that it's still the same way. The chickens just aren't in a cage.
When they collect the egg.
Another thing is too, if you really want free range people, you're going to have to.
They're not free range. They're just not caged.
When they get the egg, because they got to cage them in somehow to protect them.
Right.
You can't keep them out there from the.
No, they're not free range. It's just not caged. But it gave. That's why. People are wondering why eggs. A friend of ours posted a meme saying why are eggs $5?
Now they're going to about $8.
See, the thing is, all these people, government, we think this is a good idea. We're going to push the law, and guess what? You got to comply right now.
No.
And if you don't, and what
But
are you doing
prob-
charging so much?
Come on, I'm guessing the competition got too good,
Right.
and by knowing that the bigger corporations could refit to do
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
it put people out of business who couldn't
That's
do it, couldn't
Look-
follow because the big businesses probably wrote the rules.
Right.
yeah, and they're going to try to market, and they can market that saying, "Look how compassionate we are. We adopted these standards." Well, yeah, you could afford it. You forced this transition that you knew that everybody, your competitors, couldn't have the capitalization to offset.
You adopted this in government. You shoved it down people's throat.
Right.
And here's the thing that I want to ask Governor Whitmer. You talk about
She's not going to answer because she doesn't listen to her.
I know,
show.
but if I were to sit down and ask her any question, this would be this. You talk about how you care about people, you care about all this other stuff and everything like that. Let me help you this. I've seen more people suffer underneath her tutelage as a governor than I've seen suffer anybody else.
She's probably the worst
So explain
governor.
to me how you're trying to help people.
I don't know, John.
comment?
John, it looks like somebody wrote something.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like I think
Could
it
you
was
just
responsive-
paraphrase it?
Okay, they're talking about they're actually further going talking about the the Panama Canal and Jimmy Carter, and I guess they give the name of the Herios-Carter treaties. That's what was
Right.
ratified by the state senate.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, so okay,
So they're just adding, just giving more depth to that, more.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much. Yeah. But anyway, no, I just
We got someone watching this.
yeah,
We always do.
We have somebody, but this person felt the need to. Thank
And
you very
thank
much
you.
for the
Thank you.
response. Do this more. We like that.
You were
Um,
talking earlier about something. I wanted to bring up a story, another one, but this is it. If you went to Home Lake, Michigan, and for the last 40 some years, there was a store called Arnie's. It was a big craft store,
Mhm.
one of the biggest craft stores in the state of Michigan. This year, because they put it out with road construction and everything, they had done a remodeling. This is where government is. They don't even understand what's going on local. Their road commission actually put it right there in front of them and drove these guys out of business in the biggest in the
So what do
busiest
you?
time.
What do you?
So I'm saying is
How'd
like
they do it?
because they
Road
blocked. They
construction.
couldn't get nobody could get into Arnie's to go shopping. So they've got staff and everything like that, but nobody could come in and buy anything from the stores.
So it's out of business.
So they closed up pretty much through the
It's no longer in business.
no longer in business. And they put a business that has gone through the worst times, everything else in Home Lake has been a staple in Home Lake. They finally just closed their doors because local government couldn't say, hey, you know what? This is the busiest time up and down for all these businesses, for the cabins, for all this other stuff. Why can't we just work on this like in the middle of the winter?
But
Right,
they
when no
didn't.
one's
Okay,
driving?
nobody didn't come up with the plan, and they didn't present it to
No.
people. They didn't say, "Hey, business owner,
Could
we're
we
going to
work
be
with
cutting
you?"
down this road
Right.
during this time, so you might want to rethink something."
A lot of these stores is
And
run out of
okay,
business.
now Holt Lake's not even that big for
No,
one thing, and
but
there's no
people-
reason why
we
the
couldn't work around. it.
the township supervisor or mayor couldn't have just went straight to the business and said, "This is what we're planning on doing."
What day would
And
you want
that's
to do
what
this?
I hate about these people. Once they get in office, they think they're so far removed from the public. The public has to come to them and talk to them
And kiss
about
their
things.
hand.
I mean, something that small. It's probably Houghton Lake probably has a township supervisor.
Yeah.
I would guess.
I don't think they
And
even
there's-
have a mayor.
There's no reason why that person couldn't have went and figured. There's no reason why this person shouldn't have known that would have happened.
Well, we had this happen up here, down the street here. We had a Coney Island up here in the corner of Leith and Franklin and Oklahoma, which
How many years ago?
Oh, this is like in the late '70s, and they tore up the streets here to put up the new sewer in. They tore up everything around it. It put a serious. They didn't go out of business immediately, but it was a serious enough hit that down the road a couple years they did go out of business.
Yeah.
I mean, because they don't consult businesses. They act like businesses are
But my argument is that community is so small.
yeah.
That there was no reason why
No.
they couldn't have went there. I mean, we're big.
Mm.
We had a council person who was in charge who should have been fighting for his people.
All right.
I mean, there was no reason why an east and west road should be shut down. I
Yeah.
can understand because what we run east west,
Yeah. East West. Yeah.
east west, and
Yep.
and north south.
Right. They shut down. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, they just arbitrarily do something without, and they look at business community, the business owners, as somebody who's an enemy. I mean,
Right.
if there wasn't them, they wouldn't have the damn tax
Well,
base.
they
The jobs
were-
were there.
We are the white noise.
Right.
that John, again,
Yeah.
John
John
Kerry
Kerry
talked
can't say.
about.
Because don't you know we got visions for you?
We are government.
Yeah.
We know what to do. We don't need your input.
That's okay. This
citizen.
Yeah, we don't care. Okay. Oh, yeah, we know we say we're democratic. We know we like democracy. You really think we believe this? That's what it is.
Well, democracy, if you're going to talk about democracy, democracy is a two-way street.
Right.
It means this person here may not agree with my opinion, but they have the right to their opinion.
No,
The problem
democracy is
in
mob.
democracy is their
Democracy is mob rule.
But in their worlds, it's if I have the right to go ahead and create a law, I'll create a law to kill you and
No,
tell you
but
other-
it proves that it's mob rule because we are the mob right now with the internet that
Right.
makes them do things like the solar
Yeah.
and like that stupid bill that the Congress tried to get passed and they had to rewrite, but still had some fat in it. They got by.
As I get older, I used to like George Carlin's sense of humor because he was funny. A lot of times he said I thought his stuff was like really antagonistic towards business communities and capitalism and stuff. And when I look at now, I see what he inflamed, government and government's involvement. As I gotten older, I just see that man was so wise. I mean,
Right.
he was
He's
so
so
wise in
young.
so many ways. And I'm glad his voice is still being heard by people giving snippets out there because he covered a lot of the stuff we're talking about, the businesses and the government and their attitude towards the
A
people.
lot of the things he says that I hear on TikTok and different places, it's like he could be saying that today.
Exactly. I mean, it was 25, 30 years ago. I mean, I saw him one time in concert down here.
Even though the thing that he's most famous for is the 730 word.
Yeah, but even that is pertinent because look at the prohibition of words. I mean, it's still current. I mean, well, what's going to be the acceptable vocabulary here? We're going to give you this list you got to read from. I mean, no, he was very prescient about this. I mean, George, wherever you're at, he was an atheist. I don't think he believes in the afterlife, but I mean, I think you're an amazing individual. I wish you were still with us, because
But
you'd be having a
one
lot of time.
thing, he didn't come off as an atheist in his base.
No, he never did. I mean, he was personal. I saw the interviews with him, and I realized. So I
But
saw him.
that's fine. They separated.
Yeah, that's fine. I saw him down at the Whiting one time in person. Phenomenal. I mean, you're just rolling. He just made things so funny. It's like big duh moments,
Right.
just rolling off. I mean,
But what do you think about Trump? He wants to pardon the January 6ers.
I think it should.
what? Yeah,
Can you believe that anybody's against it?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Democrats can say, yeah, I can't believe saying.
Liz Cheney and
Did
the
you
whole
see
January
that?
6th
I mean,
committee.
I'm sure you've seen that on TikTok in different places where they're decrying the American populace because they don't care about January 6th enough.
Yeah, it's
They were
like
sitting around a round table and I can't because they were trying to cover it like it was something
They were
that
trying to make
happened
it
and nobody was watching it. And what I'm saying is they were sitting there like in defeat.
yeah.
They
the
just can't believe that people are not going to hold this as a
Yeah, I saw several posts. I can't believe people are affected by January 6th. No, we weren't. Remember that song by what was it? The Leonard Skinner, that line says, "Does Watergate bother you? Doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?" I mean, no, Watergate. And this is right after Watergate happened.
Right.
No, I don't believe January 6th bothers me a bit. It was a guided tour, like one guy said, by the FBI's guided tour.
The
A
whole
guided
thing
tour.
is made up.
Yeah.
Van Jones is still talking about his kids crying. I don't know how old those kids
There
are,
was
but they've been
no-
crying for the last 8
Nobody
years.
was crying.
Okay. According to the guy who just left our office here, I don't want to mention names, said he was traumatized by that. Our local,
Traumatized.
traumatized. So I was hiding underneath my desk. You do that.
AOC
Yeah.
claimed that she was in the building and she was afraid that she was going to be raped. Come to find out, she was down the road in a different office when it went out. These people lie. So
This like
much.
drama queens. I mean, that's the fitting bill for them, the fitting label for these people.
Did you see where Blumenthal actually came out?
Who?
Blumenthal.
Who's
Senator
who's he?
Blumenthal from, I want to say,
It doesn't matter.
Delaware or somewhere. Actually, I can't remember where he's from. One of
The
those
guy who
little
lied
states
about
where it
his,
was Vietnam War
Yeah.
stuff and everything
Yeah.
like that.
Mr. Stolen Valley.
Yes, he said now he's going to take the fight. Now it's time for them to take it to the fight.
He's another old decrepit.
And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you going to fight? January 6th, we're going to have to fight this. We're going to take this to the fight. Did you fight about Biden pardoning his son and saying anything my son does from now to the day he dies, he's pardoned for?
Oh no, he did say that. Biden said that he confirmed that he's considering preemptive pardon.
Yeah, that's a given because let's face it, he's got to
You
help his
can't.
co-conspirators.
Why can't he's president? He can do what he wants.
You can pardon a chicken if you
I
want
mean,
to.
remember
but the
he
problem
just
is that-
cut off 600. It was 640 square miles of
About
the
coastal-
Gulf.
yeah, of the
for drilling.
for offshore
for-
drilling.
Yeah, he thought he's going to do that in perpetuity.
Yeah.
But Trump said no, he didn't. And matter of fact, I'm going to go one better. I'm going to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Internationally.
Yeah.
Not just in the United States. He's going to do
Internationally.
it internationally.
Well, and actually, you're right. That's more inclusive because it's the Americas. I mean, this is North
No,
America.
America.
But yeah, but
Yeah,
But
he's not gonna do
it can
the word.
still mean both because
Yeah.
we're North and South America
Right.
anyway. So really, that's what it should have been.
right, it should have been. I mean, he's being more inclusive. That's why I'm looking at it.
Actually, what I do like is number 8, where you said medical debts are being removed from the credit reports. Is
That-
that bill going through?
Yeah, it already did.
That's good.
So when does that go take effect?
Oh, I don't know when it takes effect, but it's already been approved and everything.
No, that's good because the person, let's face it, it's not a purchase they decided on, they regretted and they reneged on it. I mean, they're living their life
Yeah.
stressing out and then they get hit by something.
I'm
Okay,
going to say
but
we're
tell-
85%
but tell
of
me.
people.
Why did Congress do that? Everything can be, you can discharge almost everything from your credit
Right.
report, but you can't discharge medical.
Because it
The
was
reason
probably-
why is because medical. Here's what they do: is they buy one debt to another debt to another debt.
No, I know.
Right when you're right to the time where it gets ready to expire, then they sell it off to another
Right.
company.
and it's probably all the
And
same
they're
pool
selling that
people.
company off every time they sell it.
Well, I
you get
wouldn't be
another hit.
surprised if these companies are like an arm of the main creditor anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's like
See, this is one thing I don't understand. I don't understand everyone talks about credit scores and all this other stuff. I understand credit scores. Lived all my life. I don't like it. I think it's a stupid system. But one of the things that they screw up so much on Experian and everything, why can't you just get rid of one time? You want to talk about reparations? Okay, talk about reparations cross country when it comes to credit scores and give everybody every 7 years a clean bill of health
that's what it's,
and get them up to an 800.
that's the biblical principle right there. I mean,
No,
But not everybody even uses their credit that have bad credit scores. It's just stupid.
No, but
but
the
the thing
problem
is, it's not fair. Is that insurance companies use your credit score against you?
Yeah.
For they figure if you have bad credit score, you're going to crash your car.
yes.
Well, it's
Well,
probably
no, I don't know why, but I
because
was
it's probably
making
your
a
car.
joke.
No, it could be your car breaking
I was
down
making a
because
joke,
the
but
only
what
car you
I'm
get
saying
is
is
buy one big. and one-
your insurance for your car, and that's another thing. They screw everybody in an area. They don't treat you as a person when you're
No.
getting car insurance. It's because you have a zip code, so you have to pay what everybody in that zip code pays.
Homeowners insurance the same way. I mean, I've been thinking about, dropping mine or leaving mine or doing something else different, but it's awfully hard to find any kind of coverage because this is a red line district, area, zip code. I mean, and let's face it, I got insured to so much. If something, God forbid, happens, I probably wouldn't give it a portion of what's insured for. You're going to find a way of reducing it.
Okay, be honest.
give it at
Do you
all.
think crime is that bad in this?
No,
neighborhood?
well, there's nothing here.
But there's no crime happening in this. I mean, I'm talking about
real crime.
illicit crime, yes, but I'm not talking about. There's no houses burning down. The cars there's nobody's stealing a car in these neighborhoods.
No, there's
except for the city towing them off.
but the
Well, they won't even do that anymore.
the houses that burnt were already abandoned anyway, and nobody was
No.
insuring them, so they didn't
For
have to
them
any
to say that
payouts.
it's so dangerous here, it's not.
No,
you walk the streets every day.
It's like
not that way, but to get where you're going.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
We're talking about
Yeah,
the illicit crimes.
that's my
Hey,
source
you're
of
walking
employment.
streets.
That's why I'm scraping bottom because that's my source of employment. I don't have any takers.
They call them.
They call them the streak. Hello, Mark.
No, but what I'm saying is, do you think it's safe to be out there?
I lock my doors, but I mean, so what? They do that in the suburbs. It's just there's nobody here to do
But the thing
anything.
is, I live what?
A mile and a half from here.
About 2 miles.
Yeah, a mile and a half, 2 miles. Yeah.
When I grew up, we didn't lock our doors. We didn't lock the doors in the car. I mean,
But
you
you're doing
didn't-
that now,
it's
right?
something that you didn't think about.
That's it.
I'm not saying you didn't purposely, but if you left your car unlocked, you weren't going to go out in a rainstorm to lock it.
There's a couple of times by accident I was still working. I left my back door. I mean, it wasn't wide open, but the door wasn't locked.
Right.
And obviously somebody could have got in, tried the door, and got in. They didn't. It happened a couple of times. I mean, just opportunistic. That's what you do. You just prevent the opportunistic criminal. But I mean, no. I mean, I don't fear. I don't sit there dreading them. I go to bed at night and don't even worry about it. I got my doors locked and I
I
got
think
stuff
the
in place.
people
but
around here pretty much stick together.
Well, they
and
watch out for
help
each other. They do.
out.
They do. I mean, I've had friends one time. They knew the area I lived in from college, and they were coming through. This was years ago, and they knew I lived in one of these houses around here, and they said they didn't know, so they stopped right
Yeah, I
next to the
like
guy.
this one.
They're
This
right
is a
next
good
door to
one.
my the neighbor right next door to me, and this guy and I did not get along. So my friend rolled up to him and he said, "Do you know where John Wilson is?" I don't know who that guy is. This is a guy we've had arguments with, and so he went to the party store, 7-Eleven on the corner. And he called me for the payphone. He goes, "What's your address?" And so I told him, and so he comes down the house, and we're talking in the driveway. He goes, "Hey, that guy right next door." He said he didn't even know you. He said, "That's cool though, because he didn't want to, he didn't know who I was, so he's probably trying to protect him." So that struck me as like, yeah, that's this is basically considered like a prison mentality. But yeah, I'm not going to turn you on to say, yeah, this is where the so and so lives, and
Well,
somebody you generally inquiring.
there's two reasons why if a police asked me about my neighbors that I would say I wouldn't know.
Mhm.
One, that I'm worried about the police if they're coming out. If the police come up to you and start asking you questions, they suspect you of something.
Right.
Right.
But see,
Yeah,
people.
I would say no, but it's none of their business. I know my neighbor wants them to know their business. He can go ask my neighbor.
That's what I tell people. I just posted this today. When a cop comes up to you, some people say, "Well, you should just be nice, show your ID." You don't know what they're out there for. Okay, they're not out there to be buddies. Okay, and they actually said this is an adversarial relationship we have with the criminal justice system. It's the prosecution and the cops and the prosecution against you. All right. Don't play in their hands. Do not give up anything. Do not give up because
I mean,
they don't know what they're
but
going to
you
use
can
it
be
against you.
polite. You don't have to be an
No, you don't
angry.
have to be an asshole about
But,
it.
but like the easiest thing is, like I said, if they're asking about somebody else, to say, I don't know.
It's like, how can they compel you? I mean, you generally might not know. If you do
So
know,
you really don't know. Well, I honestly, I got his name in my phone, but I don't know his name. I
So
don't
I
know.
can't help you.
I don't know the neighbor on my other side either. They're not going to keep it that way.
it's like,
I
what?
mean, I talked to him,
Yeah.
Right.
but I
You're not
I
sending
need
that.
you to do a background check, right?
No.
No. Yeah, it's like, and it's
I
again,
know he's married.
he's
I
got
seen
this
his
English
wife
look on
once
his
in a while.
face.
He's got some dogs, but that's about it.
That's so yeah. So like I said, it's good to know your neighbor, but it's also good not to voluntarily say you know too much about your neighbor because why be asked questions about them that you don't know what they want
I know our
given
neighbors
out.
on one side because they come over and work with me, but the other side, I just know them by name. That's it.
Right.
That's all we ever know.
That's all you should know. I mean, it's like unless they, and then again, if you're real good friends with somebody, certainly don't talk to the authorities when trying to get answer their
No.
questions. I mean, don't.
No,
The
I
last thing you
mean,
need is
the
hang
police
over.
are the last people you should be talking to.
Yeah, it's because I mean they're not there to be your
Not.
friends.
I mean, even though one of my I'd say he's a good friend.
Yeah, but
I he tells me stories, and
I
I don't agree with the police officer that sets up 300 feet from a stoplight at 2 o'clock in the morning with binoculars, wait for somebody to not stop at a blinking
Like,
light.
Yeah.
Just the but what I did like that people get upset with me about for a while, people in the state of Michigan weren't driving around with license plates because they didn't have to.
Mhm.
But after that happened, that would be one of his keys. If they didn't have a license plate, he'd definitely go
after them.
after him.
right over here in Delaware one time they didn't have a stop sign there for years and years. Nobody had a stop sign. Well, they put one up there. It's catching a lot of people. The cops are sitting right around the corner, just nailing people left and right. Right. So somebody took it on themselves. They put a sign out facing where the new stop sign would be, just out beside before that. You got there, and it says police are around the corner. The cops are furious, man, about that.
But you should just go put a big old sign that says police parking right here.
Yeah.
But
So,
no, we're not against police.
eh.
But just not,
Just do your job and do it under prescribed rules, okay? And I have less problem with you, but
no,
I'm not against the police
No.
because they're there to do their job too.
yeah,
because like again, I have friends who are police officers, and
I've had some friends for years that they were cops, but as I gotten older and see more and more stuff around the country, it's more reflective of the issues I've had with cops. So it's more widespread than everybody. Oh, that's just an isolated incident. That's BS. It's more widespread than you want to admit.
no,
Yeah.
there's
Well, I don't understand that. I'll tell you what I don't understand is the prison system. I
The-
really don't.
the
No,
what?
the prison,
Prison
system.
system.
No,
We're the only country in the whole world that has the stupidest our criminal
It
system
should be a place that
rehabilitates you.
that if you do well, yeah, no, because I think if I take custody of you, it should be my job to feed and clothe you and treat you the right way. But when you first come in, I'm going to treat you. You're going to be at one level until you show that you can
Right.
function.
Right.
Right.
And then if you can, then you're going to be able to take advantage. Why should I think we should pay for schooling for people if they want to be
Right.
better? They should leave a better. They should be a better man or a better woman after
Right.
they leave the prison system.
And there shouldn't be
They
like the
shouldn't be able
cages.
to. I'm sorry, and it should go back to government. It should be government's responsibility, not private
Yeah,
entities.
because
There should be no private entities involved. I'm talking from the cooks. Everything should be government,
because
Right.
that's
and that would employ a lot of people.
Right.
that's actually one of the functions government has. It's supposed to be corrections, police, and fire protection, and road maintenance, stuff like that. All the other stuff we've done and we've added to the bills and stuff like that, we should have no
But there's
connection to.
always going to be those
There's-
people that you're not going to be able to do anything
Right.
for. And I'm not saying treat them badly, but just they don't get what. And then you make sure that they can see the people who are
Moving
conforming
forward.
and doing what they're supposed to do. They can see them every day,
Right.
and they can see them getting just getting more privileges than they have in hopes that maybe they might turn over. If they don't, then they just stay in that in that.
There's a country that I don't want to say it is Switzerland. I don't want to say Sweden. I can't remember, but there's a country where their people, when they go to prison, it's like a big college campus, basically, and all the dorm rooms are filled with them, and they just have open door rooms and come and go to do stuff like that. But what they do with them is they find out what they were doing in the outside world, and if it's a thing that the country needed or something like that, they put that in place for them to work in the government situations.
Oh no, because then what
Look at the
happens?
guys from Empire.
But the reason things like that don't work here in the United States because they don't want these prisoners competing with their business.
Yeah, that's when I was at U of M, we couldn't offer any goods or services that was already offered by a existing business, private business. We couldn't do that, so they were considered as competition. And
I understand that
yeah,
for
yeah.
for a school.
Right.
If you want to be involved in something to private businesses, then do something an outreach with that business to send
Right.
your students there.
But-
Don't create a.
But
Could you imagine though some of the guys that are in jail right now for tax fraud, everything else that they've done, the accounts and all that? Could you imagine putting them in a spot and say, "Okay, guys, let's sit here."
Okay,
figure out
how
what the
about
laws are
this?
that you're broken.
Why put them in prison for tax fraud? Why not take make sure monitor them, make sure they don't do what they're doing, and
And
let
take
them
part of the
continue to
money.
work and let them pay reparations.
Would be the
That's
smartest thing.
Fine them.
just like, well, look at putting guys away in jail for child support, not back child support. That
No,
was
we
the
have a
stupidest
friend
thing.
who explained.
Yeah.
They put him in. Okay, the guy wasn't paying. He wasn't able to pay child support. And I believe him. He's a nice guy. So I mean, the judge is going to put him in jail for 30 days to teach him a lesson, and put him 30 more days
And behind.
behind on child support.
It doesn't make sense.
Make it so because the type of job that he had, then they weren't holding it for him once he got out of jail.
No, and the matter of fact, to distance himself further if he did try to reapply because he's served time in jail. They're going to see that as a terrible thing, and they're not going to want to hire him.
Our system is stupid.
My thought about that child support stuff is, you know what? A lot of these people leave. One of the women want to leave. If you want to leave, and you want to take the kid, you should pay for that kid.
Right.
And I know that's not the right. I know that's not the politically correct way of saying it. But here's the thing: when my wife left and she took my daughter for the first 8 years,
Okay.
guess what? I had to pay child support. I didn't want to end the divorce.
I don't think government should be paying for other people's kids.
No.
No, I don't think so
And you can
either.
get mad at me if you want to, because it just creates more.
Right.
More people willing to, if they know that somebody else is the state's willing to pick up the tab, they're going to do it. I mean, yeah, I've dealt with this kind of stuff, around it all my life. And I just think that the way the system is, it doesn't make any sense. They try to justify it, and all it is so they can extract more money from people and get more taxpayers and add cost and legal fees and
Yeah,
stuff.
'cause
That's all
once
it's about.
government gets in your business, you're screwed.
Yeah, because
You as a business owner know that.
But because they don't understand what we're doing and what we want to get done. Like for instance, do you know that you have to? All right, here's something stupid. A few years ago, I wanted to do a chocolate dip, bacon. We had to
People
actually
do
go
that.
through. We actually had to go through and get an FDA person come sit at our spot, do everything, and sit there the days that I'm running that, so that we can actually. So if we get an order and I have to call this guy in,
Right.
I have an office for him, have a desk for him, have everything set up for him, just so that he can come in if he wants to. Anytime I'm making a run to watch what I'm doing.
And you have
Tell
to
me
pay
how
for
that
this.
makes sense.
It doesn't.
I mean,
So it's cost of
we
doing
follow all the
business.
other rules. We follow all the other laws, right? If something goes
So you
wrong,
just said, I'm not going to do that.
so we basically just walked away from the whole deal. But it could have made a lot of money for the company.
Right, but the thing is, you're forced to make a choice between this kind of line of production or this line of production because you can't do both simultaneously, and so you stick with that. That doesn't pay. I mean, you want to find a more diversified for things you can offer people for your products.
I saw Julie yesterday. Sometimes it's easier for us to go and making the crafts, the buttons, and the wood shop stuff and everything like that. Because there, you just take it out to a show, sell it, and move forward. To
Right.
everything, food. You got so many people up your ass for everything. I understand you need to protect people because I believe you should protect everybody. But one of the things I don't believe is I don't believe somebody should be up your rear end about everything every 5 minutes. Which I do like about the state of Michigan. One thing, they do have a better, like, the MDARD is a little bit easier to work with than most
What
other
is?
places. MDARD, Michigan
What is that?
Department of Agricultural Development. So they are good if you actually follow the rules and follow the laws.
If you know how.
If you know how. But
And
they
if
got a book this thick. That's this thin printing that you have to read.
It's a little bit thinner than the rule, the how to understand women, though, isn't it?
Oh god, that book's about that big, and it's called Estrogen.
Well,
Just take
luckily
estrogen.
they tell you don't need the book. They'll tell you when you're not following it.
Yeah.
We're going back to the agriculture business or women.
Women.
Oh, okay.
We're going back to the toxic
I think it's